A healthy relationship is an atmosphere for you to learn about yourself and learn about your partner. Personally, it's very, very hard for me to get into relationships. I don't easily get into relationships. So my learning process in relationships are very, very stunted. After I get into a relationship and the relationship ends, I always like to take time before I get into another relationship. I'm not very good at connecting with people. And I always feel like the mistakes of my previous relationships would almost resurface in the new relationship. And I have to subconsciously or consciously put in effort not to repeat the mistakes of the first time. It's always hard. Then there are new things that I learn about myself from the new relationship, and there are new things I learn about my partner from the new relationship. And it's almost like, how did I not know that this was a thing? But then I think I understand. It's because I don't jump into so many relationships. I think it's why it's important for men to be in, I don't know, men. I don't want to say men alone, for people to get into relationships, as many as possible, to learn, to keep learning, and to keep evolving. It's if you get into a relationship with the mindset that you want to understand yourself better, because you know that being intimate with someone is going to expose your wound, is going to expose some things about you that you've been hiding when you're alone, when you're not with someone. You know, you can mask some things, you can hide them from yourself, or you can pretend like it's normal. You can pretend like most of the things you do are normal. But when you're with someone and they genuinely like you and they have your best interest at heart, they will be the ones to point out to you that this is, if they like you and if the relationship is healthy, they'll be able to point out that this behavior is wrong. This thing you do is not right. This is not right. And you'll be able to learn. If you are healthy, if you have a mind that is willing to learn, willing to understand, if you're not just there for selfish reasons, you will learn. You will start to see things about yourself that you never really thought were a flaw. You start to understand yourself better. Maybe it's going to be painful. Trust me, most of the time it's going to be painful, because some things that they will say to you, the things that are going to change your life, will not land on your ears or in your mind easily. They would hurt you. But if you can look past the hurts, if you can sit with yourself and think, what this person said to me hurts me. It hurts me because I was triggered. And for me to be triggered means that there is an element of truth in what they said. Could it be true? The first question you ask yourself. Then you start to think, is it true? You start to look at yourself, your behavior. If you're going to be truthful to yourself, you will see a pattern. You will see that this thing this person said is what I always do. If you put your ego aside, if you put pride aside, then you would be able to start doing the work. But if you cannot put your ego aside and put your pride aside, you're going to think that that's just the way you are, and you expect them to accept you the way you are, because you're not willing to put your pride, your ego, your aside, so that you can do the work. The work is sometimes very, very hard, because it requires you to face parts of yourself that you've kept hidden for so long, parts of yourself that have become a part of you, parts of yourself that have become so on autopilot, things you just do. They are like a reflex, things you just do when something else is done to you, behaviors that you just have, you just do them and you don't know why you do them. Now you have an opportunity to understand why you do them. you have an opportunity to go down memory lane and understand why the whole behavior came about in the first place and address it. Some people would abandon a very, very healthy relationship because that relationship is pointing them towards the need to change, the need to do the work that they are not willing to do. So they would leave that relationship and date someone new, someone who they will not allow to see them very, very closely, enough for that person to realize that they have this problem. So they don't get too close. When the person gets too close, they push the person away, they become manipulative, they know that they have something they are hiding, a behavior, a pattern that they have recognized that they don't want to work on. Once that person starts to realize, they know the relationship is over, they start to look for someone new. It becomes a cycle, and they never truly have anything real with anyone. Once a relationship starts to get real and their wounds and their traumas become visible, they see it as danger, the end, and they pull away. Well, I'm really hoping that if you watch this video, you can sit down and think and do the work. I assure you, when you do the work, you would not have to pull away from relationships. You don't even have to have done the work completely. You need to be willing to continuously do the work. If you're willing to continuously do the work, your partner will see your willingness and they would not want to abandon you. They would not want to leave and move to the next person. You also would not want to leave because you know you are constantly trying to do better. And that is how a relationship works. You work on yourself to be the best version of yourself for yourself, while I work on myself to be the best version of myself for myself. And we come together and we combine what we've learned. We combine our healing. And inside that atmosphere, we are able to grow something. We're able to grow a business that can thrive because we understand ourselves. We're able to grow something in that atmosphere, a family that does not have to be toxic, a family that does not have to repeat the cycle that we are subconsciously not doing the work on. We end up transferring those trauma to our children, to the children. Once you do the work, you create an atmosphere where something beautiful can grow, creativity can grow, love can grow, a business can grow, a family can grow. Not just a business that would crumble, not just a family that will be scattered, not just creativity that has no meaning. At the end of the day, every single thing you do, because it is born from the work that you have done, something beautiful would grow out of it. I hope this helps you. If you've learned something, if you have something on your mind you'd like to share, if you have problems you'd want to talk your way through, or if you have some things you're experiencing that you want to understand, drop a comment. I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment and I'll be responding to the comments. Remember, there are 3 things that cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Peace out. Subscribe.